It's time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Indeed it does on a Thursday, and great to have you with us all across America and Canada. A lot to talk about over the next 60 minutes, including some Major League Baseball chatter with our friend David Aardsma, the former big league reliever. Hangs out with us every Thursday on the show. Whole host of hot topics from around the big leagues to talk about. We've got odds and ends still to come a little later on in this program, and some hockey playoffs talk to get to from there. We'll do that coming up in about 10 minutes as well. One series has the home team doing well, and every other series, much like the NBA, the road teams are dominating so far. And speaking of road teams dominating, let's start things out in the NBA, and Sam Yarnell is here. And Sam, if you thought it was a fluke in Game 1 with the Knicks beating the Celtics, think again. Because the Knicks did basically the same thing they did in Game 1. They come back from 20 points down to beat the Celtics 91-90 to take an improbable 2-0 series lead going back to Madison Square Garden for Game 3 of this series this weekend. And they have a Celtics team, I think, befuddled, bewildered, scratching their heads trying to figure out where it's all gone wrong with having blown essentially two giant second half leads. And you see the final seconds of this Celtics loss with Jason Tatum having his pass swatted away by Mikal Bridges, who then throws the ball into the front court for the Knicks, who go on to get a victory. And again, for the second straight game, the Celtics fail miserably from behind the three-point line. They're 25 for 100 through the first two games from behind the three-point line. And while there is plenty of blame, and rightfully so in this series, Sam Yarnell, to go for the Boston Celtics, I don't think we're giving enough credit to the New York Knicks as well. And I'll get to that in a second. I want to talk a little bit about what's going on in this series from a Joe Mazzulla coaching standpoint. And I think two things can be true. And I often say this on the show. I think two things can be true. One, in the way this final play played out for the Celtics, and if you watch it, just moments earlier, they ran the exact same play. And Jason Tatum got an easy dunk at the bucket. It was the only field goal, by the way, the Celtics got in the final 9 minutes of this game. That should be mentioned. But you run the exact same play. No originality from an offensive standpoint if you're the Boston Celtics. You run the exact same play. You still have a timeout in your pocket. You see the Knicks are defending it differently, and you don't call a timeout if you're Joe Mazzulla. So while Jason Tatum deserves some of the blame, because as he crosses half court and gets to the three-point line and kind of loses the handle on the basketball, and then it all goes south from there, Joe Mazzulla could have called a timeout at any point and still had ample time to set up a different play for the Boston Celtics. So I think there's plenty of blame to go around to the player, in Jason Tatum's case, and to the coach, in Joe Mazzulla, who has been outcoached in the first two games of this series. But let it be said, for as much as we love to get on Tom Thibodeau, and as much as we love to talk about his small rotation of 8 guys, nobody's talking about all those minutes the Knicks players play right now. Nobody's talking about, the Knicks, shortcomings that we talked about throughout the season. Nobody's talking about any of that right now. The Knicks defensively, how bad were the Knicks defensively all season long, Sam Yarnell? We talked about how bad the Knicks were defensively. All of a sudden, the Knicks look like the defensive team we saw last year in the postseason. That team that had trouble scoring, but was still great defensively, Sam. I mean, I don't think enough credit is being given, and I'm as guilty about this as anybody, to what the Knicks have done in this series as opposed to what the Celtics have not done.
Well, I think a lot of the credit for what the Knicks have done is due to what the Celtics have not done, and that's put the ball in the hoop, which is something they were, quite frankly, the most effective team at all season long. This offense was a world beater, and they've seemingly run into a wall, Jason. It's like those TD Garden buckets have lids on them whenever the Boston Celtics are shooting. You're exactly right about the Mazzulla thing, and I think that we all need to reflect on the NBA as a whole and realize that, yeah, Joe Mazzulla probably should be on the hot seat at this point after the blown lead in both of these games, not to mention the just, like you said, in the last 5 minutes of that game last night, flat out outcoached by Tom Thibodeau. No question about it. Outcoached by Tom Thibodeau in the last half of the fourth quarter in crunch time of that game when it mattered most. Not calling that timeout, which you alluded to, as Tatum brings the ball up the floor, does not make a lick of sense in the NBA as a whole, because you'll save a second and a half by advancing the ball, but two, because of exactly what you said, in that they ran the exact same play they had run 2 minutes and 30 seconds earlier, and the Knicks knew exactly what was coming at them. Made no sense. For that reason, you have to imagine that the Celtics front office has to start to question the validity of this entire, I'm Joe Mazzulla, I'm a tough guy, I just want to run through a brick wall every day. Listen, buddy, Dan Campbell works in one sport, it doesn't work in the NBA, and if your team keeps performing like this, the shortcomings are going to come, and they're going to come very, very quickly, Joe Mazzulla. Here's the other thing about this from the Celtics perspective. Jason Tatum is 12 for 42 in this series. Jaylen Brown is 15 for 43 through the first two games of this series. Now, do I think both of those two things are going to continue throughout the next however many games we have to see this series last? No. But the fact of the matter is, in the second round of the Eastern Conference Playoffs, for two guys who the Boston Celtics as an organization have gone to their wits' end to fight for and justify the crazy amount of money that both of them are getting paid, you got to start to fear. Because quite frankly, 15 for 43 and 12 for 42 just is not acceptable from two guys who are on max contracts in the NBA. I don't care how good of a sixth man Peyton Pritchard is. The fact of the matter is, when your two JBs are doing that and are combining to go 27 for 85, that's not acceptable. It's not what you can do if you consider yourself a championship pedigree team. That's my takeaway from the first two games of this series. I don't know how we thought the Boston Celtics were as good as we conceived that they were, but credit to the Knicks. They have taken full advantage of the Celtics dropping the ball through two games.
Sam, can I do you one better? Can I watch your head explode right now? You ready? Conference winner on FanDuel right now, the Celtics still have the best odds to win the conference. Plus 160. The Knicks
their
next.
Their
Knicks
odds
are
to
the
win the
next.
series have gone down since the loss last night.
I don't know. Oh, by the way, the Thunder mollywopped the Nuggets. We're coming back with hockey. Coming up in 10 minutes, baseball. With our man David Aardsma, former big league reliever. Get some thoughts with him. All right, Sam Yarnell, let's talk some hockey. I tell you, man, as always, once the basketball is either done or not interesting, I switch over to the hockey games. Last night was no different. Went and checked out the Stars and Jets in the third period. I went and checked in on that game. We'll get to that in a second. But first, the one team in either postseason, hockey or the NBA, the one team that has managed to hold serve at home in the conference semifinals, whether it be hockey or basketball, would be the team that everybody was worried about because they play in Toronto and it's hockey in Canada in the playoffs. And oh my God, hello to our friends watching on Games Plus. Hello to our friends watching on Fubo in Canada. We love you, oh Canada. Toronto Maple Leafs up 2-0 on the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers. Sam Yarnell, what say you?
Oh man, Jason Page, the writing is on the
Let's
wall.
go Maple Leafs.
You can. I don't know, man. You can feel it. This Maple Leafs team, they are a heart attack in a can. I'll tell you that much. That's one thing that they will never stop short of being. I can't believe that they're the only team in all of the playoffs right now that has a 2-0 lead going on the road.
And they're playing. Here's what's crazy. Here's what's crazy, Sam. They're up 2-0 in the conference semifinals, and you can get them at plus 600 right now.
Yeah.
You can get them at plus 600. I'd go to, you know what? I would go make that wager right now. They're 2 wins away from the conference finals. They're 10 wins away from winning a Stanley Cup.
Feels like kind of a sucker bet to me.
I'll be the sucker. I'll be the sucker. I believe in you, Maple Leafs. I'll be the sucker. I'm running over to Stations Durango today.
What actually, you saying that makes me curious a little bit about if we go over to the series prices for Toronto and Florida. Panthers are plus 172. I think it's a great time to get in on the Florida Panthers. This is a scrappy hockey team who, even in losing this game last night, they outshot the Toronto Maple Leafs. So,
Panthers are plus 172. I'm not a guy
that's going to worry about Florida right now, Jason. We know their pedigree. We know what this team is capable of, obviously. And don't forget, they got Brad Marchand. How can you hate a team that has Brad Marchand when it's not the Boston Bruins?
Panthers plus 172 right now to win the series. The Maple Leafs are minus 210 if you're looking at the series.
You know what would be fun?
Yes.
Take your bet, the 6-1 to win the cup. Put a little pizza money on that one. Take my bet, the Panthers to win this series. Put a little pizza money on that one. You ought to be happy when the series ends.
I can't bet against our friends in Canada. Can't do it. Can't bet against you, Canada. We love you. Love you, Canada. We are with you all the way. Even if Donald Trump is not, we love you. You don't have to be the 51st state. We will still stick by you. What do you mean? What's wrong with the Jets? We still love Winnipeg.
They're in Canada too. They went down 1-0 in the series.
The only team in Canada, the only team I can't go with in Canada is Edmonton because I live in Las Vegas, and I'm on 3 stations in Las Vegas. Three different stations in Las Vegas. They can't get enough of me apparently. I mean, Las Vegas isn't that big of a city. How am I on 3 stations? I don't know. They must be desperate.
I don't live in Vegas, so I'll ride with the Oilers.
What's that series price looking like right now? You can get the Oilers at minus 250. Wow, you can get the Golden Knights at plus 176. By the way, the Golden Knights, who Dennis Bernstein thought would win in like 5. I can get the Golden Knights right now at plus 176. After dropping game 1 of that series. Right? That's crazy. How about a parlay? How about a parlay on the Golden Knights at plus 176? Maybe the Knicks Golden Knights parlay on the series number. I think I like it. Sam's head is spinning.
Enjoy that. That's I'll bet you the sportsbook hasn't booked that bet yet. You'll definitely be the first one to put that parlay in.
I'm fine with that. Let's talk about the Stars and Jets because I did catch up with that game a little bit last night as I was sitting here and I said, why am I watching a Thunder 40-point blowout of the Nuggets? Why am I still watching this game? I said, let me go flip over. And boy, I'll tell you, the Jets did everything they could to try and get that game-tying third goal, but just came up short. And credit to the Stars, who now have Jason Robertson back. And again, I'll say it, our man Dennis Bernstein came on the show, and he said if they got through that first series, he thought they could be a team that wound up in the Stanley Cup final. And Sam, they look like a team that could somehow wind up in the Stanley Cup final.
Well, yeah, and Mikko Rantanen looks like a guy who could win the Conn Smythe Trophy. 12 goals in 12 games through the playoffs so far. or I'm sorry, no. 12 goals in his last 12 games.
Yeah, Rantanen's playing
for
at
the
another
Dallas
level.
Stars. Mikko Rantanen, incredible talent for Dallas. The natural hat trick last night to by himself propel his team to a 3-2 lead. This guy is really, not that he wasn't in Colorado, but this guy is really coming onto the scene as one of the better superstars in hockey. And I think that, for as many people said in Colorado that, oh, this guy's a McKinnon merchant, and obviously the transactional nature of his career for a 3-week stretch there in the middle of the season. Mikko Rantanen has, it seems like, finally gotten his feet under him. And Jason, he's the hottest player in hockey right now. He is absolutely on fire, and nobody, not even Alex Ovechkin, is scoring goals the way he is.
Why does it feel like there are such overreactions in these series prices, Sam? The Jets are plus 265 after one game?
So that's what I was saying, man.
Yeah, you said this.
The nature of the series betting in hockey is a great place to make money because it's an incredibly volatile market. Yeah. For whatever reason, the book does not know how to price these series in the NHL, and they move way too much after one game.
Plus 265 on Winnipeg right now. Maybe we go Winnipeg at plus 265.
Parlay Winnipeg and Florida.
Can't do that. Can't do that. I'm sorry. Winnipeg and Toronto, baby. Let's go. We're coming back with David Aardsma. We'll talk baseball next. Welcome back to this Thursday edition of the show. And if it's a Thursday, it can only mean one thing. We're a day closer to Friday. It also means we're talking baseball with these guys. Sam Yarnell is always here, but David Aardsma hangs out with us on the show, former big league reliever. Man, wouldn't we all love to be Max Fried right now, David? Man, oh man, wouldn't we all love to be pitching as well as Max Fried? I mean, he is literally, not only has he stepped in for Gerrit Cole, he's pitching better than Gerrit Cole has ever pitched for the Yankees in New York right now.
You're going with the ever?
Really?
Ever?
Has Gerrit Cole ever had a stretch like Max Fried has had in New York right now? Really?
I don't know.
No, he hasn't.
It's tough to say. I mean, Max Fried is crushing it, absolutely pitching lights out. And this is what they signed. It's blowing my mind. I didn't think he was going to be pitching on this level. I thought he was going to be good, and questioning, obviously, the history, the money, and that sort of stuff. This is a perfect signing for the Yankees. Absolutely been perfect. He's been 0.7 ERA his last 7 games, the last 7 starts, 1 ERA. This is amazing. 51 innings pitched, 47 strikeouts. He's doing everything perfect for the Yankees, and they have absolutely needed this. When their rotation was in shambles in spring training, this is a perfect sign.
What do pitchers duels do for you? Like, do you get as excited about pitchers duels as I do, like watching Aaron Judge go 4 for 4 and just beat up on pitchers? Like, do you just, what does a pitcher's duel do for you?
I love it. It's like watching defense in football. I actually do love it. I love it because it's the back and forth, the scoring runs and hitting. That's fun baseball. I get it. As a fan, you enjoy that. But the pitcher's duel is the game, is the reason you're there. And to watch that battle back and forth, the kind of the chess match. I loved old school baseball when you actually had to pinch hit for the pitcher and try to figure out all of that strategy. So you can't have that anymore. So I love the pitcher's duel. I enjoy it because I can sit back and learn and watch. When guys are hitting, you're not really learning a whole lot. You're just enjoying it, and you see a whole lot. When guys are pitching, I feel like you sit back and learn a whole lot. Plus, baseball games go a lot faster. Yeah. Baseball's boring.
Yeah, Dylan Cease and Fried had a great one last night with the Yankees obviously getting the better of that one. Go ahead, Sam.
Gerrit Cole 2 years ago was definitely as good as Max Fried is being this year when he won the Cy Young Award, led Major League Baseball in innings pitched, ERA, game start. He started 33 games that season and still had a K per 9 better than 9. Gerrit Cole 2 years ago was an absolute dog. And I think that, Jason, to your point, though, probably need to give the Yankees pitching coach and pitching staff a little bit of a raise behind the scenes, because it's pretty clear that they got something figured out around Major League Baseball where they can just take an ace and make him one of the best pitchers in baseball without question. David, we saw a trade last night, and I wanted to ask you about it because it really interests me, the team that partook. The Orioles trade for Luis Castillo, not that Luis Castillo, the other Luis Castillo that the Mariners have.
I'm saying, what did I miss? I'm like,
yeah.
What?
So they get the second Luis Castillo, not the ace, the fourth guy in that rotation, but nevertheless, pitching help headed to Baltimore. What do you make of the Orioles this far through the season? Is it already time to write them off for the playoffs?
Do you think when the Mariners got that call, when they said, hey, we want Luis Castillo for a minor league like bench guy, like, which one? How do you distinguish that?
That's great.
No, I think it's definitely not time. It's not time to write off anybody. It is an uphill battle, big time for the Orioles, sitting at 13-22 at this point. This has all the makings of an incredible comeback story if they're able to come back. Hitting, we know they have the bats. We know they have all the pieces there, but they have to put it together. The pitching is absolutely just been in shambles. We thought almost none of the signings have really worked. Sugano has done very well for himself. 3 ERA right now, so we're still looking at that and saying he's held his own. He's not going to be striking out the world. He's not going to be blowing people away, but he's never been that guy. In Japan, he wasn't that guy, and here at 35, he's not that guy, but he's getting the job done. So that's the one signing that's actually worked out really well for him. No other signing has worked out. None of the prospects have worked out. You look at Kyle Gibson. He's sitting there with I get it, one start, but not a good start. Dean Kramer's not doing well. Charlie Morton, I've never quite understood the love affair there and why that was a signing for them.
But I think he's about to have his first grandkid actually this season, David.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I don't want to write him off yet. But we do know in the offseason they needed more pitching. They needed one more bat in that lineup, and they didn't quite deliver, especially knowing the prospects are there. So something has to happen. Is it too late now? No. But they have to let go of some of those prospects at some point. Mike Elias can't hold on to them forever, and we need to move on for realistic major league players that are getting the job done. Prospects are great. Wins in the big leagues are better.
Can I ask you a reliever mentality question when it comes to
waiting for this.
to Devin Williams and what's going on here with this just god awful start he's had? To go through what he went through just a couple of nights ago, where you cough up a game, and then come back last night and have the 3 strikeouts in the 10th inning, and you could see how pumped up and fired up he was in that moment. Can just that one moment in the 10th inning, can it click and just set him off in the right direction? Or is that too simplistic and there needs to be a much bigger stretch of success before we could say that he's got it figured out?
Devin Williams is an interesting case. He's not giving it up every night. It's one night, then like 3 good outings, one night, 3 good outings, and then 2 bad nights. So it's a very interesting case. I've never seen a reliever who's so good then give up 3 runs, and it's consistent. Every single game when he gives it up, it's 3 runs. It's a very interesting case. So there's something to be said that he has it. It's like, why does he have it on those other nights? And that's what they have to figure out. And so, yes, these nights can roll and get going. It's kind of like a hitter having that 3-for-4 night with 2 home runs. Can that get going? Absolutely. I think he's actually pitching well. I think it's there. It's trying to figure out what is happening on those nights when it's not. What is that trigger? What is missing in those outings? And as a pitching coach, it's getting him out of those outings quicker. Catching that before the 3 runs happen where it's 1 run. And then you can start building them like, hey, it's 1 run. Who cares? It's not 3. We're good. Like, we can roll with this. I think he's actually has the stuff. I think you're going to end up at the end of the season, Devin Williams, you're going to look back and go, good signing. And he's going to have good stuff because great outings, bad outing. Great outing, bad outing. We just need those rolls.
Yes or no? Will he be the closer again?
Yes.
We're coming back with David Aardsma. Continuing on this Thursday with David Aardsma, who joins us every week here on SportsWrap. The Dodgers' pitching injuries just continue to pile up. When you're on a team like this and you continue to see these injuries stack up, what's going through your mind?
I'm hiding from the training room. I'm hiding as far away from the doctor as humanly possible so I don't get the injury bug. It is tough. It is very tough, especially with a team like this. This is why you sign everybody in the world, so you can withstand something like this. And it's scary. They're still able to move on and still have a pitching staff. I don't know how they do it. They still have enough pitchers to get by. But there is something going on in the Dodgers. There's been something going on for the last couple of years with the Dodgers. This is not a new thing. I don't know what it is. Almost every prospect they brought up has gotten hurt.
David, we said this with the Yankees for years, where there was injury after injury after injury. Why were guys getting hurt? Was there something wrong with the training staff? What was going on? Can it just be bad luck, or does there have to be something more systemic within the organization?
It can be bad luck, and a lot more higher chance of bad luck than it is at the big league level. If you're seeing this in the minor league levels, then it's an organizational thing. And this is a conversation we have to start having, because almost every prospect they've brought up has ended up hurt very quickly after they've brought up. When's the last time you saw a Dodger pitcher come up to the big leagues and has sustained health? And that's my problem with this. And that's when the question starts happening. Now, again, you can't blame a Blake Snell on this. And Clayton Kershaw is well past his prime. Like, you know what you're getting when you re-sign him at 40, whatever he is. But it is a sustainable problem. There is something here that the Dodgers, if I'm a Dodgers and I'm in the front office, I have to look back and reevaluate everything I'm doing on pitching development, because I can't keep signing everyone in the world and look back 2 months later and have them all on the IL. And that's where we're at right now. I mean, you want to go down this list. It is a who's hurt and who's who of your Dodger prospects. It is. There's no the rhyme or reason. It is everybody that you bring in gets hurt.
Yeah, the Bobby Miller experience hasn't really gone as anybody intended for it to, David. I wanted to mention, because I think Jason mentioned it earlier, a pitcher's duel we had last night. Don't look now, but Michael Wacha is in 18th on the active leaderboard for innings pitched. He surpassed 1,500 last night. David, from a guy who spent a long time in Major League Baseball, I just kind of wanted to get your thoughts on how a guy like a Michael Wacha, who's never been a world beater, right, can maintain a career for long enough to pitch to 1,500 innings.
And how is he getting better? How is he getting better? I thought he was done, washed up. He had some great years in St. Louis. Mm-hmm. When he goes to the Mets and ends up having a 6.5 and a 5 down in Tampa, no one throws a 5 ERA in Tampa, first of all. And then he comes back and he's pitching better with the Royals. I have to look at, we talked about the Yankees pitching staff, the Yankees, coaches, pitching coach. You have to look right at Kansas City and say, man, they are hitting gold and pitching well, and they're redeveloping pitchers well past their prime. And Michael Wacha is one of those guys. I will own it when I mess up. And I was one of those guys who said when they signed him with Kansas City, said there's no chance. Like, this is not a good signing. I thought it was just a throw some money at a guy and hope for the best. They threw some money at a guy, and he is crushing it. 2.9 ERA right now, in the American League. And scaringly in the Central, which is scary to even say this might be the best league in the American League. Which is
crazy.
That's
crazy unto itself that we're looking at the Central, because the East looks like, we were just saying this yesterday. Sam and I were just talking about this. I don't know if we talked about it on the air or off, Sam, but I was saying we thought the AL East was going to be the beast, and it's not. It's been very mediocre. And the Central has been good. Can I posit a theory though about why Wacha is successful? I liken it to guys who lack success early on as quarterbacks in the NFL, and they hang around long enough as backups and then get an opportunity later on to be starters. And by being able to hang around long enough and watch and learn, and watch and learn how to play the position better, they get better. And then when they get that opportunity later on in their 30s and mid-30s, they play better. We've seen it with guys, and I can go through countless examples. By being able to just hang around as a pitcher long enough, obviously your physical skills, you're not going to throw harder in your mid-30s than you are in your mid-20s, but you get smarter as a pitcher. You learn different things that you can do to work around the fact that you're not throwing in the high 90s anymore. Is there something to that, David?
100%. I was a much smarter pitcher the older I was. I could do a lot more with my pitches that ever could when I was younger. I knew how to throw fastballs in different locations a lot easier. I can manipulate my slider to make it 3 different pitches when I wanted. And the only thing was my split wasn't the same, but I think that was a lot of other reasons. I was a much better pitcher when I was older. If I would have had the stuff that I had when I was younger, I would have been lights out, 1 ERA, man of the, closer reliever of the year. That's how it works though. And you have a great point. The more you see, the more pitchers you're around, the more it happens. You have those opportunities. It's just, how can you stay healthy for that long? How can you maintain a level of your pitches? It's hard to still throw 92, 93 when you're mid-30s, like you were when you're younger. And Michael Wacha has done an incredible job of transitioning to different places, right? St. Louis to New York to Tampa to Boston, San Diego, Kansas City. And then towards the end, almost have more success. He's done an incredible job with this. And again, like you said, 1,500 innings, which he's at exactly, is an amazing number.
I want to bring you into a conversation Sam and I were having on the show yesterday involving a couple of guys, one in particular who might be the last of this generation to hit a milestone mark in Major League Baseball, a pitcher to hit a milestone mark. I want to get to that as we continue. One more segment with David Aardsma as we continue on SportsWrap. One more segment with David Aardsma, former big league pitcher, Man Cave Sports. Catch some of his work there. Also, Sirius XM MLB Radio. Chilling with us on this Thursday. Do people still say chilling, Sam? No? I don't know. Maybe old people like David and I say it.
Those hip kids.
Yeah. So I want to ask you about the 300 win club. Here's what I'm curious. When 300 wins and 500 home runs go away, which inevitably they will, as benchmark.
500 is going to go away.
Well, look, it's going to go away a lot more. Well, 3,000 hits, 500 home runs are going to be harder to come by. Certainly 300 wins is going to. What's going to be the benchmark for pitching excellence that leads us to the Hall of Fame? Because after Justin Verlander, who I think will get there, I think, what did we say? He was at 262 yesterday, Sam, when we were talking about this. He's at 262. He needs 38 more wins. What's going to be the benchmarks for the Hall of Fame when it comes to pitching?
200 is going to be a benchmark. 200 is going to be a point where we start the conversation. 250 is a guaranteed Hall of Fame.
Wow. I
think 225 is that level, the 3,000 level. 3,000 used to be guaranteed, and then now we have some guys that are right around there that are not. I think 225 becomes that conversation. Anything above that becomes almost guaranteed. It just gets some really interesting conversations with guys that didn't pitch that long, in the 2010s and stuff like that got, over 200 number. 225, you're looking at Justin Verlander, which is one of the most dominant pitchers I've ever seen on a mound in my personal life. And Felix Hernandez, who I think was right around that 175, I think 200 number, maybe. But Verlander is not going to be close to 300. And he was as dominant as any pitcher I ever saw with my two eyes.
Wait, did you say Verlander's not going to be close to 300 wins?
He's
he's at 262. He's going to get there.
I
think he's going to get there. He's at 262.
You think so?
I think so.
He's 42 years old.
That's the number for me. He's a fastball guy.
Yeah, you might be right, Sam.
That's another 38. That's very tough. It's a very tough. I don't know if he's going to pitch that long. But
it's
might be the
3
last
ace
one.
seasons from a 42-year-old. It's literally 3 ace number one seasons in terms of wins from a 42-year-old. So by the time he finishes that, he's
313
46.
He'd need 313 win seasons.
Yes, and that's in today's age, that's 3 ace type of season. Then that's the number that changes. I don't know if he's going to be able to pitch long enough to be able to do that. Now, if he does it, incredible. He's a Hall of Famer, anyways. So you brought up the 500 home runs.
Yep.
That to me is going to still be a number. I just think there's going to be so many guys past 500 home runs that's the reason it doesn't guarantee the Hall of Fame anymore. It's okay, it's 500, and you kind of go, yeah, but. There's a lot of guys now with 500 home runs that aren't in the home run are in the Hall of Fame already. I think that's going to be the problem with that number. You start looking down this wins list, though. You were talking about wins. Verlander, 262. Scherzer at 215. He's a Hall of Famer, but he's 215. Kershaw, 212. Garrett Cole, 153. I know he's going to have more years under his belt, but then Sale is 139. That's when you start seeing this number get really far away really quick. And I think 215 is going to be that conversation. 200 is a conversation. 215, 225, probably guaranteed.
I wanted to ask you about something that I've noticed a ton over the course of the last maybe 10 days, just always this time of year between April 20th and May 10th, we get a ton of rainouts. It's rain delay season, right? I wanted to get your perspective as a pitcher, as a reliever, but also as someone who's been around major league clubhouses. What are kind of the difficulties of pitching on a wet mound? What maybe injury risk does it pose? And two, how much does it really blow up a staff when you have 2 rainouts in a week and now the starters are all mixed up left and right and the bullpen's depleted?
Pitching on a wet mound is miserable. And when it's raining a little bit, misting a little bit, and the ball is wet, that's when having the little pine tar, the sticky, the rosin and sunscreen that was lighted was absolutely essential just to be able to throw strikes. It wasn't about spin rate. It wasn't about trying to kill off pitches and strike everybody out. You wanted to control the pitch, and those are the toughest days to pitch it.
David, I know you got to go, but we missed an anniversary 2 weeks ago. 15 years ago, this happened, and we just wanted to make sure that people knew. 15 years ago, this happened to David Aardsma, ladies and gentlemen.
6 for 6 in save situations so far this season. Reels for the drive, deep left field, and for the second straight game, the White Sox win it on a walk-off home run. It was Andrew Jones last night and Alex Rios this afternoon. Unbelievable. You have got to be kidding. Following the ejection of Ozzie Guillen in the top half of the inning, the White Sox hit 2 home runs in the bottom of the ninth. Their first back-to-back walk-off wins since July of 2008.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We wanted to make sure we gave you the best of it. David Aardsma, ladies and gentlemen, Man Cave Sports. Also, check them out, SiriusXM MLB Radio. Thank you, my friend. Always appreciate you.
Of course.
All right, we got odds and ends right around the corner and some good news to finish the show on. A story that looked like it was a surefire disaster may ultimately have a happy ending. We'll get to that. Plus, news from NASCAR. Yeah, there's been talk about internationalizing a certain event for NASCAR. Well, it's not going to happen anytime soon. We'll get to that as well. A whole bunch to do as we continue on this Thursday edition of Sports Wrap. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to do. Welcome back to the show. Getting set to put the wraps on this baby for a Thursday. I know people do this all the time on TV, and it drives me nuts, but I'm going to do it. Can you believe it's already Friday tomorrow? Where did the week go? I hate it when people do this, but I'm doing it because I can't believe the week has flown by. If it's Friday, that means it's a NASCAR Friday, and Tino Patino will be here with his NASCAR picks. He's become so big now, he doesn't even get in touch with me during the week anymore. He used to bother me during the week. Can I have a clip of the show? Can I get a copy of the segment? I don't even hear from Tino anymore. He's too big. He's big time, me. I don't hear from him anymore. So we'll preview this week's NASCAR race with him. It's in Kansas, which means Bubba Wallace has a shot to win. We're always rooting for Bubba to get a victory. So we'll talk with Tino Patino on the show tomorrow. We will also be joined by our friend Robert Littal, Black Sports Online founder. He shared a really interesting story on TikTok this week that I want to ask him about, involving Bernard Hopkins, the executioner. I want to ask him about that when we have him on the show tomorrow. So make sure you tune in for that. Couple of reminders. Sports Wrap with Jason Page, the podcast version of this show, available Monday through Friday wherever you get your podcasts. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube Podcasts, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Odyssey, Amazon. Anywhere you get a podcast, you can listen to this show on your way to work, while you're on the treadmill, while you're taking the subway to work, wherever it may be, while you're on a plane. You can listen to the show. You can also watch us over on Spotify as well each day. And you can watch us over on our new YouTube channel, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel, where we have the show every day. Early in the afternoon, you can catch it there. Also, Sports Wrap Shorts, clips from the show each day, and sometimes clips not from the show. Yeah, it's great. There's always news breaking, and we're always putting up Sports Wrap Shorts to make sure we cover that news if it doesn't make it into the show each and every day. And without any further delay, ladies and gentlemen, time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. The Clash. This year it was held at Bowman Gray. It used to be held at the Coliseum out in Los Angeles. And here's some good news. If you live in the United States and you enjoy going to the Clash, which is NASCAR's preseason race, they're going to keep holding it in the United States at least for 2026. There had been some talk of moving it outside of the United States. NASCAR seeing what so many other sports are doing, internationalizing their sport, and the idea of potentially taking a race. There have been talk of Mexico, there have been talk of South America, bringing a race to some other part of the world. There are so many complications in doing that, though, in trying to get these cars up in the air into other places. NASCAR has decided, at least for 2026, Sam Yarnell, to keep the Clash in the United States.
You know, I'm old enough. You were talking about Tino Patino earlier. Yeah. I'm old enough to remember the first time they did it at the Coliseum when our boy Tino Patino was on site for the first NASCAR Clash at the Coliseum. So yeah, it's a cool event. I mean, I thought it was really cool when they were doing it inside of a football stadium. Yeah. I don't know. It seems like they're going to try and take it overseas now, which is going to be, I think, a little interesting, but good for them.
Yeah, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it in 2026. I do think eventually you're going to see a NASCAR race that is not on American soil, though. I think that's just the natural progression of things that we continue to see in sports these days, is trying to bring and expand your audience. And I don't fault NASCAR for doing that. I just think it's far more complicated when you're talking about these, 3,000-pound vehicles that you're trying to transport, as opposed to some football gear or some hockey gear or a few basketballs. It's a little more complicated than that, just want to say. Some good news to report in odds and ends today. The guy that fell over a railing at PNC Park, Kevin Markman is his name, looked like he was probably not going to survive. Or Kevin Markwood, sorry, I want to make sure I get his name right. Kevin Markwood, a couple of weeks ago, who fell over a railing at PNC Park, is gradually getting better. He still has a lot of hills to climb, still has a lot to overcome, but Kevin Markwood is improving, according to family members who provided an update on Wednesday. And Sam Yarnell, that is amazing news for this young man who fell 21 feet over a railing at PNC Park. The details of how all that happened is still unclear. A new video actually emerged of him from behind him, of him going over that railing. And it's still unclear how all of this happened, and it's still being investigated. They still don't know if he was intoxicated, if he wasn't intoxicated, who knows. But the fact that this guy is alive and actually improving is a miracle.
Yeah, that's fine. It can remain unclear. We don't ever need to know. That's totally fine. Glad the guy is okay. Let's raise that railing up by about 7 inches.
Yeah, right.
And let's all go back to enjoying our regular lives and forget that this ever happened, because my gosh, it is still horrifying.
It's still, and they really need to raise it more than 7 inches, because just looking at how low that railing was.
Well, yeah, but kids got to be able to see over it. I was that kid at one point, sitting behind the railing, and it's like right in front of your face when you're already so high up that you got to look down to see the game. I mean, I wasn't the kid sitting in the first row behind the dugout, Jason.
Get on Dad's shoulders.
Been.
Get on Dad's shoulders. That's all. Sit on Dad's shoulders.
But then you're blocking the person behind you, and it becomes. Then what if they pour your beer on it?
Yeah. All right. Fair enough. It's going to do it for us. We're out of time. Thanks to our friend David Aardsma. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. We'll see you all back here for a Friday Sports Wrap. Plenty of NBA and NHL playoffs to recap then. We'll see you.